Now, from Philadelphia, you went to Loudon High School. What are some of the fond memories you had outside of sports? We'll talk about sports here in a minute.
Outside of sports, I think a challenge was Western civilizations, Miss Bledsoe, John Napier, Coach Clinton, Coach Watson, probably ultimate Coach Ratledge, Coach Blackburn. You know, the influences and the social part probably was more all the kids coming together and playing basketball down there beside the pool. Just different, you know. I guess that was sports, but that wasn't organized official sports.
Right.
So I mean the influences those guys put on you and whatever. I mean, as today, you still respect the things they taught us, and the communication skills that we kind of got from there is being able to function and communicate, and sort of an awareness of how you look after young men that you're around, that you kind of try to influence.
So you had a good time. You enjoyed Loudon High School?
Oh, I definitely enjoyed Loudon High School. I enjoyed the people, Principal Dutton. I mean,
Okay.
you know, there was just an roar of a community, a family community there at the time that we grew up. Like, you know, I was fortunate enough to be in high school and be a place where majority had a nickname. And I go on to college, and I'm a majority of a place to be around football where everyone has a nickname. Then I came out and I got to work in a couple places where everybody had a nickname.
Some people may not know that you played basketball in high school. That
Yeah.
takes us back. I guess you played for Coach Watson.
Yeah, I played for Coach Watson and Coach Danny Green.
Tell me about your relationship with Coach Watson.
I think I had a good relationship with Coach Watson. I mean, like I said, he was a driver's ed teacher. He pushed us. He pushed me to, run probably a little harder than I think I could run. But he was an extremely good basketball teacher. But he was a better human being. I mean, you know, he really cared for us, and he really pushed us and took care of us.
Yeah.
So I'll always remember Coach Watson. I mean, he's still doing good, and you know his whole family. You know, his brother Snake down in Philadelphia. So you know, just that was a Philadelphia connection that was really there. Coach Green, you know, Coach Green brought us up. You know, Coach Green was the assistant head coach, coached the B team, and you know, at Loudon, we were fortunate enough to have good enough talent that we all started on the B team and worked our way up.
How good were some of the teams you played on?
We were pretty good. I thought we could have been better if we would have lived up to you know, our talent. Basketball team, I don't think we ever made the state, but we had a good time and had a pretty good group of athletes.
Who are some of the teammates that you remember most?
Kevin White, Barry Cooper. You know, we had Jeff Woods played. You know, we had different guys, older guys that were there that you looked up to. Were, you know, Dennis Brown, Ronnie Davis, his brother Lynn Davis played on the basketball team. You know, so we had some real good guys.
Now, of course, your best sport was football. What year was it that you graduated?
I came out of there in '82.
Okay, 82.
So '83, I mean '81 would have been my last season. So I was playing there.
All right. So what are some of the best memories you have while playing football at the high school?
Well, playing football at the high school was winning some big games. You know, winning some big games against Leonard City. going to Kingston and battling out Kingston. You know, some of the rivalries that we had back then seem like they play different teams now. Playing Sweetwater, because I had a lot of relatives that played Sweetwater from my mother's side, from Monroe County. So those are some of the big game rivalries. I remember going to Brentwood and riding the bus over and having to take a nap in the locker room before the game. And I remember coming out, and it's like, I think they had 80 some odd players. And you know, you kind of like your eyes get big, whatever. And I remember Coach Ratledge telling us that, you know, that was a playoff game. And I remember him telling us that, you know, we scrimmaged Farragut that year. And it was the same, you know, that was before the season started. And it was the same thing, you know, we had 22 guys and our maybe 25, somewhere around in there. And they came out with 80 something. And you know, I think your eyes kind of get huge because you're like, okay. And it's like, you know, you got to realize there's only 11 of them on the field at once. So, you know, that was a big memory as far as going. I remember they don't do it now, but we used to do bull in the ring, and Coach Ratledge, you know, would have rapid fire at you from the different places, just seeing, I mean, who could be tough and knock who down. I remember Coach Ratledge trying to get a point across to me and grabbing my face mask, and I stood up and he's like, put me down, because he was holding on to my face mask and his feet came off the ground. So, you know, I mean, those were real good times. I remember going into Little City, home game there, and we were going into the stadium and some guy running off and was going to roll up my legs, and I remember Coach Clinton saw it. I didn't see it. And he was like, I get on back in, and this was after warm-up. So yeah, it was a good time. You know, it was a real good family setting. I remember polishing our helmets and polishing our shoes before the game. Yeah. You know, nobody did that for you. You had to do it for yourself. So you know, it was a real good experience.
So Coach Ratledge was your head coach. Who was your line coach?
Henry Blackburn.
Okay.
Yeah.
A good
I
fundamental.
think that coaching staff was Coach Ratledge, Henry Blackburn, David Clinton, Gordo Watson, and Larry Bridges.
Okay.
So I think, you know, we had some.
That was good staff. Some
pretty good staff at coaching. And the thing is I never got to play Little League. I tried to play Little League, so I was there one practice time from the start of practice up until the game started, because I was really too big, and we were trying to get me to a size where I could play. Right. So organized football, I didn't really get to play until I got to high school.
Right. A lot of the linemen were in that situation, weren't they? So I asked Coach Clinton what made you so good, and he told me it was your great work ethic, because, and of course you're blessed with size. Yeah. And I'm sure you've seen many players who had, you know, speed or size, but they simply didn't have the work ethic. So my question is, where did that work ethic come from for you?
I think my dad, you know, that as they would say, the Wilkerson don't know how to be still type of deal, which as I age, I think I'm learning it a little better than they learn it. But a lot of people say, well, you're beat up from football, so your body's teaching you for you. But it was just, as kids growing up, you was doing something. You was doing something. Mm-hmm. You know, you was doing something. And the harder it was, the more fun you tried to make it. Mm-hmm. So when you're in football and you take a guy as myself, I never was a big runner, that you can't make me quit attitude is a good attitude to have when you're doing something positive or something constructive. Mm-hmm. So what people told me was that balance, I had good balance. I think back to coming up, and it's like, where did balance come from? Mm-hmm. And I say, okay, hanging tobacco in a tobacco barn. And people's like, well, what do you mean hanging tobacco? When I was a kid, we had to hang tobacco, and we hung tobacco, the youngest person, to the top. I said, so guess what? I was the youngest, but I was also the biggest. So you don't want the biggest in the top. So the biggest had to learn how to keep good balance, right, and had to learn how to judge poles if they were too weak or cracky or whatever, because they'd have to be replaced because they were going to put the youngest in the top. So I think that's where the balance came from. And I think being able to work at football, anybody who tied tobacco back the way they used to do it before they started baling it or whatever, in the cold barn, damp, and your hands is just freezing, that prepares you for playing football in any kind of weather. Just that little upbringing thing, kind of helped me out mentally.
Good deal.